Why did Matthew Vaughn make another Kingsman movie, a prequel to the other two, when he was already in pre-production status with Taron Egerton to make a third Kingsman movie in the Eggsy storyline? I don't think anybody needed a world-building movie of Kingsman, and I don't think people care about Kingsman world as much as people care about, like, let's say, John Wick world. So, was it Matthew Vaughn's hubris or a simple cash grab? Let's talk about it. The Kingsman is the third movie in the Kingsman franchise directed by Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn has a pretty good track record with movies. He has some really good ones under his belt, like Layer Cake, Kick-Ass, and one of the best X-Men movies, which is X-Men First Class, besides the Logan movie. But we're talking about ensemble movies, so there it is. Now, this movie is a prequel to the previous two movies, The Kingsman Secret Service and The Kingsman Golden Circle. The main purpose of this movie was to give a backstory to how the Kingsman organization came to be and how it started operating, as we see in the other two movies. I'm a huge fan of the first Kingsman movie, which was a great action and a spy movie, and it was lighthearted enough that it didn't take itself too seriously. And now about the second one, it was alright. The ending was a bit meh, and it had some glaring plot issues, but it was a lesser movie than the first one in almost every way. Now, this movie has a pretty good and competent cast consisting of Ralph Fiennes, or Ray Fiennes, however you want to say it, Jim Arterton, Reese Ifans, and Jimon Honsu, among a few other notable names, like the actor who played Ray Fiennes' kid. It is set in the era during World War I. I don't really know why this movie was necessary. I don't think anybody asked for this movie or even was excited, but here we are. In my opinion, we didn't even really need the sequel to the first one. It was self-containing enough. If the story was left alone, it would have been okay. The plot of this movie revolves around Ray Fiennes as the Duke of Oxford and his personal dilemma of letting his son fight for his country. As I said, the World War I acts as a backdrop to the movie and the political struggle of different nations during that period of time. Now, I'm gonna start with the positive points of this movie. The acting is pretty top-notch across the board from the whole cast. I don't think I can find any faults in the acting, so there's that. You don't need me to tell you how good of an actor Ray Fiennes is. The action is very well choreographed and the special effects are passable. There is one fighting set piece including blades that is incredible. Matthew Vaughn very dexterously weaves through the actual history of the world and retcons it in such a way which was, although pretty entertaining to watch, it requires some sort of suspension of belief. If you have no problem with that, then I hope you enjoyed the movie to its fullest. Reese Ifans is incredible as batshit crazy Rasputin, and sometimes too over the top, but nothing that can't be overlooked. I'll come back to the runtime and my issues with it in a second. The plot has a very dramatic tone for the better half of the movie, and there's a sudden shift in the tone. Well, since I mentioned sudden shift in the tone, now on to the negatives and some glaring issues I had with this movie. As I was talking about the runtime before, the movie is 2 hours and 10 or 15 minutes long. This movie does not need to be that long. There are so many scenes of this movie which could have been cut and the movie would have been fine in my opinion. Cut it down to 1 hour 45-50 minutes and it would not have felt like a slog to get through. This movie has major, and I'm talking major, tonal issues. It's like it wants to be a dramatic but also over the top like other Kingsman movies, and then shifts back to the dramatic tone. It feels like you're watching two different movies. The political subject matter blended with the spy genre has been done so many times that the spy genre feels saturated by these kinds of movies. It's nothing new, but it passes the time, so there are some very entertaining bits and pieces of the movie that pushes the movie into the watchable territory, I want to say. The tonal issues and the plot that has been done so many times causes the movie to fall considerably on the rating scale. All in all, I'd say this movie falls in between 2.5 to 3 stars. And if you want a definitive rating, I'd say it's 2.8 out of 5 stars. It's an okay-ish movie with a two-tone conflicting structure. If you liked watching that, consider subscribing and dropping a like. That would help a lot with the algorithm. See you next time.